In a world covered by endless night, in a place where fear and despair thrive, in a time when all hope seems lost, two individuals arise to stand firm, resist the darkness, and light the beacons of hope to humanity. To the free people of the future, the courage of these two will mark them as heroes. To everyone else, they will simply be known as Nobodies.
Hello YouTube, welcome to Nobodies, showing that nobody's going to watch because we're just two guys talking about nothing. And for this episode, and I guess the next couple of ones we plan on doing, we're going to be talking about banking.
Exciting.
Because, yes, everyone hates it. I used to hate it. I really did. I thought it was boring as hell. But with everyone, like, you know, haphazardly talking about economic issues nowadays, especially with Bernie Sanders and whatnot, I think it's very important that we need to start having a serious conversation about what is going on.
Yeah, a lot of people, they throw around banks, you know, big banks, like you said, Bernie Sanders. A lot of people throw out the word banks, banking, but do people understand the nitty-gritty? Do you understand the nitty-gritty of how the banking system works, and specifically why it's bad? I mean, if you talk to the average guy on the street, I mean, even like myself at work or, you know, wherever, most people don't even know how it works. So we just kind of wanted to go into detail and just make sure everybody was informed, I guess.
Yeah, and we're going to try and make this as simple as possible, because, like, again, I used to hate this stuff, absolutely, but it wasn't until, like, someone, well, I read about it, and thanks to him, actually, trying to make it as simple as possible that I was able to understand it and actually realize how much of a problem this is. And going back to the Bernie Sanders thing, I guess a part of a theme about the next couple episodes that we're trying to do is he's not necessarily wrong per se when he says the banks are, you know, kind of screwing us.
Evil.
Yeah, but he's just wrong on the solutions, and that's pretty much what we're trying to say is, you know, the solution is not over-regulating banks or socialism. It's the fact that, well...
It's banks.
Yes, it's banks. It really is banks.
It's banks. We'll get into that. We will. Yeah.
So, we got our monopoly money here in order to help explain things in a simple way. And
appropriate
yes.
Monopoly money. Very appropriate.
Right. He has a special edition of this one, so they're all like in 100,000s and whatnot, because, you know, we had to adjust monopoly money for inflation. But that aside, alrighty, so... Today, you know, first step, we're going to talk about fractional reserve banking, because this is kind of the heart of the banking problem. So, I hope you find this episode informative. Alright, let's go.
Oh, wait. Today I identify as a bottle of Jack Daniels.
You really had to throw that out there.
Yeah, I gotta throw it out there, man. You know, just, it's important, okay?
Okay.
Don't make fun of me, okay? I am triggered right now, okay? You are insensitive to the fact that today I feel like a crisp, clean bottle.
And we just got 5 dislikes.
Alright, whatever.
Alright, onward to fractional reserve banking. Okay, everyone, so first I'm going to make an explanation about what all these pieces symbolize. The hotels are going to be representing your banks. This little coffee mug here is a working guy who has an account with one of these banks and is going to make a deposit. And these groups right here are just different groups that the banks make loans out to.
Just item stuff. This is a cool addition to Monopoly. So, you know, you got your laptop, your cell phone. This is the new millennium, okay? So, yeah, look, you got McDonald's fries. Ooh. Anyway, but yeah, these are just different consumer items, you know, houses and stuff that people can buy with the money. So, yeah, start with Joe Schmo.
Alrighty, so let's say that Mr. Coffee Mug here makes $100,000 and he wants to deposit it into this bank right here.
Magically, he makes $100,000 in today's economy. He's doing great for himself.
So, how do banks make money? They make money by taking, by making loans out to people and then charging them interest. Interest is how banks make money. If they're not making loans, they're not making money.
Now, keep in mind, back in the day, they used to charge a lot of fees. Banks made a lot of money off of fees. That's not the case today. For any bank that I know of anyway, they make money off of interest. I don't know of any bank, except for maybe Wells Fargo, that charges people lots of fees. So just keep that in mind, that banking really has changed. This is really how they make their money now, is loans. So.
But where do they get their money from?
Yeah, where does it come from?
It comes from Mr. Coffee Mug's money. It's not the bank's money, it's Mr. Coffee Mug's money. So we're going to replace this $100,000 one bill into $10,000 so that Mr. Bank here can start making out loans to make said money. Remember, all of this money is the coffee mug's money. It's not the bank's money.
Right. Originally, when you deposit it in the bank, it's no longer your money. And we're going to show that here.
So, Mr. Bank gives out some money to this guy who wants to take out a loan for a house. Some money gets shifted over to another bank. And this money even gets shifted over to another bank. And pretty much the only thing left is just 10% of what Mr. Coffee Mug deposited into the bank.
Now remember, that's by law. It's a 90-10 rule. So banks by law have to keep 10% of the money that you deposit. If they could, they would loan all of it out. I'm sure they would. But that's a law. You know, if you ask, well, why don't they loan all of it out? And yeah, that's the reason. It's the law. They have to keep 10%. So the other 90%, they can just loan out to whoever or whatever. Interest rates are kind of mostly set by policy, which we'll get into later, but there is a market that changes. You know, interest rates fluctuate, obviously, but that's basically how they make their money. I mean, hit the nail on the head. Joe Schmo makes his money, deposit it in the bank, boom, 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 and
that's all good.
Whatever. Yeah.
So, what happens when Mr. Coffee Mug wants his money back? Well, that's pretty much all he has access to. Now, when he goes to his bank account on the website, it says he still has this $100,000 sitting right here.
Right. Actually, that's a good point to put that there. Because the banks still, yeah, like you said, they say, hey, you still have $100K, but you don't. And that's really what I personally want to hound on. You don't have $100K sitting in that bank. The bank loaned it out.
And the only reason this game works is because, well, who withdraws their entire bank account, right? You only make a few $100s out like a week, right? No one actually takes out their entire bank account. So Mr. Coffee Mug is perfectly oblivious to this, and the whole system works. Why? Well, bottom line is he's probably going to eventually want more than $10,000 back, right? So what do the banks do? Well, this is how they bank on... Yeah, bank. This is where the loaners come in. See, when they start paying back their loan back to the bank makes a little extra money so that all the money they're responsible for giving to Mr. Coffee Mug still balances out a little bit.
So if you want to go to Vegas or whatever, yay, that money's there. But hang on. Whose money is it? Whose money is it? Is it your money? Or is it the physical bills that you deposited in the bank? No, it's not. It's somebody else's money because they loaned out to some other bank, and then they loaned out to some other bank, who then loaned out to somebody. And let's just say, Joe Schmo Coffee, let's bring in Mr. Sedan, right? He deposited money in the bank too. So now your money's all mixed up. You don't know. And that's the biggest problem, is accountability. Is your money what you're withdrawing your money? No. And nobody knows. They keep track of the numbers, but they don't keep inventory. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Nobody knows. And that's the problem. And that's why banking is inherently unstable. Right? Unstable? Yeah.
Yeah, unstable.
Unstable. Unstable. Blah.
Unstable.
Unstable.
And remember, like, your total sum of money isn't even there to begin with. You can't get all of your money out even if you wanted to.
Right, it's not there. The money is physically not there. It's been loaned out. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a shell game. It's unstable.
And the only reason, again, that this works is because people do pay off their debts. So there's still at least some money in the reserves of the bank in order to compensate for how much they're still on the bill for. Mm-hmm. But that's where we got the Achilles heel right now, and this is where the housing bubble comes in, is because, again, how do banks make money? Loans. So if they can make a loan, they make money. Now, when the housing bubble happened is that they started making loans out to people...
A lot of loans.
to people who couldn't pay back. Why? Because, again, that's how they make money. And because those people couldn't pay back those loans, well, there was nothing here. Right, Joe Schmo wanted his money back. Where is it? Where is it? It's not there anymore.
Right.
Because no one was paying back what they were on the bill for.
Lots of loans. Lots of loans. And like you said, nobody had the ability. I mean, they were making these loans to people who couldn't pay it off. I mean, the housing market was pretty similar to where it is today, just saying. Prices were going up astronomically, and people were working at McDonald's. People were, car mechanics. They weren't making $100,000 a year, so they had no ability to pay that back. But, the banks entice people. Why? Because that's how they make the money. Hey, low down payments, low interest, APR, blah, 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 all these fancy buzzwords. And, they basically kind of trick people. I mean, there's two sides of the argument that said, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't take it out, which is true. But then again, these banks did make it seem like you could afford it. So I kind of just blame everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
But, so, do not mistake us where we're standing on the issue. Because a lot of what we're saying, again, Bernie Sanders and his supporters are kind of saying the same thing. But the thing we really want to drill upon is that their solution is not the right one. Because the question remains, why do banks do this to begin with? Yes, they want to make money, and they're greedy, but they're not stupid. Mm-hmm. They can get away with this behavior, and that's what we're going to be talking about on our next episode, is why it is that banks do this. It isn't just pure greed. They're making a calculated risk here. A calculated risk they can afford. And...
well, if they can afford, they can still technically afford it, I guess you could say.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Is because even if everything goes to hell, there's always the bailout. And...
yeah. There's always more money. Let's just say that. There's always more money.
There's always more money.
Yeah. I guess to recap, one more time. Fractional reserve banking in a nutshell. Here we go. 30 seconds. I'm going to do it again. Ready? Okay. Just so we get the point across. Okay, so you have Joe Schmo, right? Mr. Coffee Cup. Makes $100,000. Puts it in the bank, right? Bank breaks it up into whatever. Is this, I don't know, whatever. They break it up. And then, but the bank wants to make money, right? So then they have to keep a certain portion of it by law, and then they loan it out to another bank, who also wants to make loans, and then they loan out to another bank, or even individuals. A lot of these loans go to individuals, our little individuals over here, and they loan it out to them so that they can buy houses, and they will in turn, let's just say they make, 30, right? And then they go deposit it in their banks, right? And then those banks go deposit it or give it to other people. It's just a giant blah.
It's a giant shell game, and the main point we want to push is that your money is not there. Mr. Coffee Cup does not have his money.
And that's why it's unstable.
Alrighty, guys. We hope you found that informative. So again, fractional reserve banking. Banks are a problem, but next time we're going to talk about why socialism is not the answer. Because it's actually government, believe it or not, yeah, spoiler alert, of why banks even think this is a good idea to begin with. Because again, it's not just greed. It is a calculated risk.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, Bernie Sanders, he describes the problem quite well. The big banks are a problem, but nobody asks other questions like why, or how did they get that big, stuff like that. And like you said, it's a calculated risk and it's there for a reason. And actually earlier, I was talking about a law, the 90-10 rule, where by law they have to keep a certain amount of money in reserves. There's quite a bit of legal and Washington, D.C. stuff. That's all I'm going to say involved. But that makes big banks bigger. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this little skit we put together about fractional reserve banking. It can be a pretty bland topic, so I wanted to spice it up with monopoly money. Yeah, talk about the Federal Reserve and stuff next time. So,
yep.
Alrighty.
Alright, thank you for watching. See you next time.
See you next time.